Yup, you gotta take risks. That's what special fighters do. And I want to be a special fighter. I want to be one of those fighters that's remembered when their career's all said and done. And stuff like this is what you have to do to be one of those fighters.
You said that this kid was a special talent. You believe he could be a superstar. What did you see tonight?
Well, I'll tell you, San Antonio, you've got a superstar on your hands. This kid. These kind of fighters only come around once in a generation.
They're to knock Sorungasai off his timing. Their defensive jabs and their power jabs. Look at that. Are we seeing out with the old and in with the new? A left hand sends Sorungasai. It was an overhand left.
In 2022, Jesse Bam Rodriguez fulfilled his prophecy of becoming a world champion. Not only that, he took the opportunity to become a champion in 5 days' notice, jumping up in 2 weight divisions to face the veteran Carlos Cuadras to become the youngest world champion in boxing, while more recently went back down to flyweight to become a 2-weight world champion. A remarkable feat for anyone to achieve, especially in their early 20s. It would only be natural that the hype would soon follow Jesse Bam Rodriguez as one of the most exciting in the sport. His use of angles, punch selection and intensity is very similar to the likes of Chocolatito, Orlando Gonzalez, or even the Matrix himself, Lomachenko. In today's video, I'm going to take a closer look at his style of fighting and the techniques Bam has used to date to beg the question, is he the one? So on that note, let's get right into it. First up, let's consider his stance and guard. Standing out of a southpaw stance immediately gives him an advantage over most of his counterparts today, especially those that are orthodox. For the most part, Bam is always looking to get the positional outside advantage, to either land his 1-2,
Right hand to the body for Burgos.
lead straight, or right uppercut or hook. Whether that be against an orthodox or a southpaw. Jesse also uses the higher guard to obviously help him block punches and put him in a greater position to attack. However, it is his combination of elusive upper body movement, which includes a lot of slips and rolls, and the threat of him changing angles is where the magic really comes into play, as it can quite often lead to his opponents throwing lackluster jabs, which in turn create counterpunch opportunities. While his use of lead hand feints alongside foot feints also makes him even more unpredictable, and once again helps him create openings up top or to the body. But overall, due to his constant movement, it makes it very hard to tie him down or work out what he will do next. Now maybe one of Bam's most underrated abilities is his use of the jab or lead hand. He'll usually throw it as a power punch stepping in, or double or even tripling it up. And sure, he wants to land with it hard sometimes, but I feel he does a terrific job occupying the guard and making his opponent narrow it so he can set up those right looping punches around the opponent's guard, while he is also just continually mixing up the lead hand each time, with power jabs, double jabs,
and then you move and that exposes them.
Going to the body, setting up the right hook.
That's all. And Rodriguez.
But, when you're that jabs from Rodriguez, he's in there.
Setting up the left hand,
Rodriguez. Oh, big straight left.
or uppercuts to the body or head. All of these therefore make his opponents quite tentative in terms of what he will throw next, while Bam will also use the lead hand to do what he does best, in creating angles. First up, I want to quickly discuss the technical boxing triangle theory, which is basically about the way a fighter can get an advantageous position from a 43-degree angle, or as it is commonly called in boxing, the outside angle. Now the basic principle is that both opponents are in their own triangle, even when you invert it. You both have the same access to each point of attack, while through the centre to the point of the triangle is of course the centre line. However, to get on the outside angle, you need to be able to create space for yourself. For example, you may need to occupy the guard with the jab before using footwork to get on the outside angle, or slip a punch before shifting with your footwork, moving off to the other angle. However, to get the best angle to attack your opponent, you need to be within the opponent's point, and here you need to find a way to place yourself in either of the three corners of your opponent to give you that angle attack. Remember what Cus D'Amato said?
And remember, it's always good to throw the punch where you could hit him and he can't hit you. That's what the science of boxing is all about. Remember, from the side, you can let that punch go with the worst kind of intention because you know he can't hit you back, so you can throw the bomb with all the power you can generate.
Now, we've seen fighters over the years have success with creating these angles through their use of footwork, including the likes of Aaron Pryor, Manny Pacquiao, Gonzalez, and Lomachenko, who have all used this idea to a certain degree. And Bam is definitely there with them. Now, in terms of Jesse Rodriguez and being a southpaw, this has been absolutely key in his success to date, and is always looking to get positional advantage and looking for ways to create an attack from an outside angles, as I've just discussed. He'll usually do this by using the jab as a distraction before stepping off or pivoting to the outside angle, before setting up his left hand or right uppercut. His beautiful knockdown of Quadras was a testament to creating and attacking from an angle while using footwork. While we've also seen Bam use this from tighter angles, but also going at that inside angle too, which can be just as effective if timed correctly. In the southpaw versus southpaw encounter, as seen with Rungvisai, he'll still look to create an angle by looking to pivot out to his left before using his right hand to attack, while he can still shift out to his right to attack from a different entry zone. Another area this has worked for Bam is when he's backed opponents onto the ropes, as it gives him the opportunity to move in the inside or an outside angle when his opponent is covering up. However, as seen in his last two fights, there is a solution to this, by either turning with him as he tries to change angle, or by continually moving. And because of how dangerous he can be when you stay stationary, he's had to resort to being more of an aggressive pressure fighter to close the distance on his opponent. So as just discussed, fighters have caught on to Bam's tricks, and he's had to resort to a more pressure fighting style. However, once here, he'll look to fight in the inside and slip and block and catch punches before returning himself. And I have to admit, he's actually very useful in this area too, as once again he's continually changing the punch variation on the inside, and will look to manipulate the guard by punching high before creating an opening to throw an uppercut or looping hook. Or when battling on the inside, he'll look to set up power punches just before the ref tries to break, showing us how alert and dangerous he is in that position. However, as much as Jesse can fight this way, he's still in my opinion better when boxing on the outside with a bit of space to attack and setting up angles. Bam for me is at his absolute best when he's able to move more fluidly around the ring and looking to set up counter-punch opportunities. And some of his performances to date have reminded me of the great Salvador Sanchez, who could quickly transition from defense to attack seamlessly. Bam is shown to do this by waiting for his opponents to become stationary so he can set up his angled attacks, or for his opponents to come at him so he can set them up with his own counterpunch. Obviously, styles make fights, and this can be a big factor in terms of how Bam approaches the fight. But the opponents he's faced that have been slightly more stationary or looking to plant their feet have been the perfect opportunity for Bam to take advantage of this by catching and blocking shots before countering with his left hand, or looking to slip and roll punches before countering back that way too, or even setting up the right check hook as his competitors rush in. Quite often though, you will see him bend to his right too, something we've seen the likes of Lomachenko and Usyk use many times. And this itself gives a tempting target to throw a punch. However, Bam knows this baits opponents into looking for this punch, and once again can take advantage of this, while also just his use of the high guard gives a tempting target for his opponents, which then can lead to counterpunch opportunities. In my opinion, Jesse Bam Rodriguez is one of the most exciting fighters in the sport right now, and he's proven that in his performances to date against world level fighters and contenders. The fact he is so young and has been able to outbox and put pressure on bigger men shows his talent is up there with the very best. His fluid movement, his lead hand variation and ability to create angles out of nothing is something we don't see too often, and maybe if he was in a higher weight division he would get more attention. But is he the one? For me, yes, he has all the ability in the world to become a pound for pound star. Nevertheless, he still has much to prove, and taking the big fights with the likes of Sonny Edwards, Nakatani, Martinez, Estrada, or even his hero Chocolatito might be what it takes to be considered the one. Let me know in the comments below what you think of Jesse Rodriguez. Do you think he can become a pound for pound star? I'd love to know. This has been Jamie from Boxing Life. If you enjoyed this, why not check out my breakdown of some other young stars in the sport. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.